And I am also going to make you the presenter, Sonia, so that
Ah, that would make it easier. Thank you. I was struggling a little. I thought I was the presenter.
they say make co-host.
That works.
So you should now have the share screen.
Yes.
Very good.
Now I see the options.
All right, so to answer your question about how courses are going to be populated in Canvas, as with all things, it's complicated and multifaceted. We have a contract with an organization called K16, who are they specialize in doing LMS migrations. So they have tools that they've developed over the years and a system of programmers who can create new scripts to make this work. So basically what they have done, or let me start at the top. So Jamie, who's been kind of coordinating the LMS whole process, sent out a spreadsheet to every department and asked for every department to indicate on that spreadsheet courses that they would like to have migrated from Moodle into Canvas. She included some suggestions based on, just some raw or some catalog pulls, I guess, from a couple of semesters. And though that spreadsheet was updated, hopefully by you and other full-time faculty and some adjuncts, we were hoping that those of you who are leads would know which adjunct shells you needed to have migrated and so on. We then confirmed that each of those shells that had been identified actually had contents in them worth migrating. And we captured some other information that was necessary for K16 to manipulate them. Then K16 has taken that information. They have access to both Moodle and Canvas. They go into Canvas, they pull a copy of the indicated course, they manipulate it, and they put it into Canvas. We've done this several times. The first couple of times, Sonia and I and some of the bleeding edge Canvas users looked at the courses that K16 had migrated to find any kinds of suggestions that we could make to improve the quality of that migration. We've done that now twice, so that hopefully the version that you get is as good as K16 can have. And there were some issues that we had to deal with. So if your class was on that spreadsheet, it is migrated or it will be migrated and available to you. If your class was not indicated on that spreadsheet, we have one more K16 migration planned. So you will need to communicate with Jamie that you have classes that you want that you didn't indicate previously. If you don't get them all on that, we have one last ditch effort, and that is Canvas will do a migration of 1,000 courses, but their migration will not have as high a fidelity and accuracy. Really, it's not that. They won't have the scripts and the tools to correct some of the problems that we found when we're going from Canvas to Moodle. So if you can get into the K16 migration, you will have less work to do than if you wait for a Canvas migration. There is one final emergency thing, and that is I can do, and any Canvas and Moodle administrator, so that's me, Sonia, and people in IT, we can grab a backup copy of your Moodle course and import it into Canvas. It is also messy. It's very time consuming. We really don't want to have to do that unless it's an emergency situation. So K16 migration already done or will be done. Last K16 migration, get your course on that list. Canvas migration, that's really your path. Once they're in Canvas, we will be assigning a shell to you based on that spreadsheet that tells us which instructor is associated with shell. Then it's just like Moodle. When you're ready to have a real class, you'll migrate from that sandbox version into the real class and then do teaching just like normal.
So is that the way it'll work? It'll be kind of like Moodle from one year to the next. Like the next year, if we teach a class, we'll just import the stuff from last year and then put our dates in, do everything the same way we would, or from semester to semester, just like we did with Moodle.
The concept is the same. There are a few details that are different. One detail that is different is that by request of administration, we are inserting every semester into every live course student resources, which are links to the variety of support resources that students have. If you copy a prior semester shell in, you'll have 2 copies of that. You'll just need to delete the old copy so that you have the most current and most accurate links. But yeah, you can do that. You can copy from your sandboxes. We're going to be redoing source course, so we'll have a source course version of classes as you work through that process. You'll be able to import from there, and you will be able to import from a prior course into your current course if need be.
Okay, thank you.
Brian, I have a question, or Sonia, whoever, you hear me?
Yes.
So the tools in Canvas are different than the tools of Moodle. I'm curious your thoughts. I've used Canvas before. Actually, at the last institution I was at, I used Canvas. And when we switched over to, or I'm sorry, when I came over here to Moodle, a lot of things I just found it necessary to completely change the structure, because the structure of Moodle is different.
Mhm.
I'm wondering if you could just, I'm not denying that you can kind of switch everything over, but I'm wondering how much is really possible and how much retooling you would actually recommend. I know there's some basic things like maybe like quizzes. That's a huge deal. That's really important. And if that switches over seamlessly,
There's no such thing as a seamless switchover.
as seamless as possible.
Okay, that's how we qualify it. So there's no universal answer. It depends on the course that is being transferred. So here are issues that we found in the migration that you're going to have to deal with. If you have complicated quizzes, and by that I mean quizzes that have videos and pictures and other elements embedded in quiz questions, you're going to spend a lot of time ensuring that you have fidelity between Moodle and Canvas, because there are so many ways that can break. We can't predict them all, and we will not be able to catch them with the K16 migration at all. And we are confident that the Canvas migration of such a course will break every picture, as will the last ditch emergency effort if I copy a course from Moodle and put it into Canvas. I'm 99.9% sure that any pictures that are in your quizzes in Moodle won't be there in Canvas because of the way it imports. So you've got to get on the K16 if you're using pictures, and there will still be problems. I would say that in most cases, you have to approach it from a standpoint that there is a different organizing mindset in
Right.
interfaces and tools between LMSs. There are commonalities and similarities, but there are differences. The biggest difference for me as I am working in courses that I see that I find probably the one that I am still actively working to adjust my mindset on is the gradebook. In Moodle, the gradebook I find to be quite powerful. And you do many things in the gradebook, including things like grouping your grade items, creating grade items, weighting grades, and so on. That's all done in the gradebook, which makes sense to me. In Canvas, that sort of thing is done in assignments, which doesn't make sense to me, but I have to learn to think in a Canvas mindset that everything is an assignment if it's graded. So I'm learning to do that. So you have to adopt that mindset. And then the second thing is structure and flow. There are things that look the same in Moodle, but they don't function exactly the same. And there are some things in Canvas that will necessitate, or at least suggest, some additional changes that you might make to your modules that you've migrated from Moodle into Canvas. So the short answer is, in most cases, you're going to save time initially if you just take the imported class from Moodle and make it work. Ultimately, you're probably going to want to redesign your course, and many people are already saying, you know, I think I'm just going to start from a blank canvas, sorry for the pun, and build a new course using the mindset that I want to make use of the new tools that are in Canvas that weren't in Moodle, and the navigation features that are in Canvas that weren't in Moodle, and so on. So, ultimately, I think long-term, most people are going to do some significant redesign, but for the short term, you'll be able to get your course up and running for fall, or I'm going to say it right this time, spring semester, by manipulating the migrated course.
I will tell you, I found out that my differential equations course was going to run. I wasn't expecting it to in the last couple of weeks because the enrollment was so low. But then there was a push, enrollment happened, and then it was like, I need my differential equations course on Canvas this summer, and because it was one of the pilot courses. And I thought, oh boy, I don't know how long this is going to take. Based on the migrated material, it didn't take me very long at all to get a bare bones. I mean, students could then go into it and look around. I was worried that it was going to take a long time, but it really didn't. And it was surprisingly easy to manipulate in terms of figuring out what to turn on, how to change the settings, how to change the dates and stuff. It actually, I found it to be a little bit easier than Moodle, even though Moodle has more, I would say Moodle has more options in terms of easier to turn on and to modify things. Overall, I found the Canvas kind of starting things up, kind of that initial, you walk in the room, turn on the lights and make sure the desks are in the right place. That level of
Right.
turning things on, actually, it wasn't too bad.
Alana makes a good point, and that is, she says, but notice that Steve's class is pretty simple. It doesn't have any quizzes in it.
Absolutely.
So Steve's class is at one end of the spectrum. If you look at Kim Salinas's classes, she's a power user in Moodle, not just our Moodle, but she's like a Moodle world power user. Her classes are extremely complicated compared to Steve's. They make use of features in Moodle that most people don't even know exist. She has had to spend an incredible number of hours trying to create a workable shell out of a migrated shell because of that. And that's what I'm saying, that depending on where you are in that continuum, the more complicated your course is in Moodle, the more difficulty you're going to experience in making it work in Canvas. The more basic your course is in Moodle, the more simple you will find the process of migrating and
Ryan, I like to think of it as I'm not simple and doltish. It's just that I knew the college was going to screw me eventually and change the system. So I planned ahead and I kept my courses as absolutely simple and basic as possible. Now I'm joking, but not really, because
you're not really joking.
A lot of my stuff is not on, it was never on the LMS. It was on Google Docs.
Right.
And I had links to Google Docs that went off, because guess what? I don't have to change any of that stuff.
And since I arrived here, I've been in all the trainings counseling people to avoid things like book and lesson, because knowing that all campuses migrate at some point, I knew those are unique to Moodle and they would not migrate into any other. So I've been telling people, be thinking ahead about, sometime in the future when we will migrate, because it just happens.
So
we're always looking for something better.
Quizzes and exams, you think Brian, you think those are the key areas where there's the biggest problems then?
Yes.
If we have a lot, like I have PowerPoints. I also have a lot of podcasts associated with them. Those things should migrate fine, you think?
That's what we're experiencing, yes.
For one of my other classes, I use quizzes in Moodle, and I'm dreading doing that migration. I haven't started that class yet. That's going to be later this summer. But yeah, I think I say I'm dreading, but Sonia guarantees that no matter what, if there's any problems, she's going to come in and recode all the questions and take.
Did I say that?
I'm sorry, you're breaking up, Sonia. I heard yes, that's what I'm planning on doing. And I'm going to do that for Aaron too. That's what I heard you say.
Sounds great. All of the questions that are in the chat, I've put in the Word document for Brian to review.
And I am monitoring that shared Word document or Google Doc, right?
Yeah, that's the Google Doc. I just copied all your questions into that.
I'm monitoring
I meant
and
to say
responding
Google
there.
document. He's already started answering them.
Mhm.
Is anyone at the basic level, or are you guys do you guys need a tour of the Canvas? I know quite a few of you have taken other trainings. I know, Steve, the training that we're giving today is pretty much the 2 trainings that you've already been in, but they're combined into one.
I'm in the pathetically know nothing category.
Okay.
That's
Thanks
the same
for
for
letting
me.
know.
It's
That's the
pretty
same
obvious.
for me. Yep.
Joe, come on.
I have to be honest
Okay.
about it.
Okay.
I'm
great.
curious about the training that's in Canvas in structure. And I guess I'm not sure what it's called here, but I'm curious if that's the training that you're talking about that we could have taken, growing with Canvas or something like that.
Yeah, that one, it is nice. But it's not, it doesn't pertain specifically to how the Jackson College instance is. So
Okay.
it's kind of like an overall everything that you can do, and it's not specific to Jackson College.
Okay, then
So-
I'm in the same category with Joe and the rest. I know nothing.
Okay, thank you. I just wanted to get kind of, I didn't want to cover things that you guys are already familiar with. So I didn't want you guys to be like, no, we've already got that. So if you guys don't have any other questions,
Suzanne's got a question.
oh, she's got her hand up. Oh, okay. Sorry, I wasn't looking for hands. Sorry, before you
Oh, it's
joined in,
okay.
I was saying just go ahead and say the question instead of raising your hand because I wasn't paying attention to that. Sorry.
Oh, no problem. I didn't want to interrupt.
No, I
I just wanted to
appreciate
share. I just wanted to share with everybody that I've been using Canvas a lot the past couple of weeks, but my situation is a little different. And the short report is I'm having a very good experience working with Canvas. The long story is I use a niche publisher for accounting that used Moodle, and I had everything built in their Moodle site. So it was not built in JC Moodle, it was built in the publisher Moodle. So what happened is my publisher Moodle content was copied into Canvas, which was the bare bones. It was the publisher stuff, if you know what I'm saying. Like if there was a publisher video or a publisher homework thing I had set up, or, that stuff transferred beautifully into Canvas. But otherwise, I would like to have these courses built in Canvas. So in some ways I was building in Canvas and learning from ground zero. And I would consider myself kind of a mid-techie kind of person. And I just want to let you know, I'm having a really good experience playing around and getting things the way I want. And it's been a really nice experience for me to kind of, redesign the class in some ways. Like, yeah, I've always wanted to do it this way, or yeah, I want to check this out. And I've also found really good YouTube resources. So when I have there's something where I'm kind of stuck and I'm like, well, I kind of like to try this, or what's this, or it's been really easy to sort things out. And Sonia's been great. So there have been a couple times where I got stuck with different things. Be like, all right, what about this? So there you go. That's my little report from a little bit different perspective, kind of building and creating in Canvas. When I get to my Cengage classes, I'm hoping my experience is more like Steve, like just take all my JetNet stuff and put it in Canvas, and let me go. So
Thank you for
Okay.
sharing. I muted myself. Guess that's how we're gonna do this training and mute. But thank you all for sharing. Anyone else have anything to say before we begin? Okay, so I'm going to share just getting into how to get into Canvas. So yep. That's where Brian is answering the questions. If you guys didn't hear, I noticed a couple joined a little bit after I said that. So I put that document in the chat, and that's where Brian will be answering questions on this Google document instead of the chat. That way we can share these questions and concerns with other faculty as we go on with learning Canvas. Next that I want to share is that Jamie and Ashley have been putting together this intranet page for us to document the trainings, when the trainings are, what the subjects are, and then the recordings of these trainings are in here also. And although this is, going on through the pilot and probably, I don't know how long they'll keep this here, we're creating a repository in Canvas also, and we're just using a course. And we're creating and, kind of duplicating this page. But that is jccmi.edu/Canvas. Will take you there. So if you forget, how to get directly to Canvas, just add Canvas at the end of the normal URL and that'll get you there. You will have to authenticate every time. So they do have this login, Canvas login there. So that'll take you right to your dashboard. The ones up here at the top are the published courses. And then if you scroll down, these are the ones that you have unpublished. So as you can see, I'm playing around with a lot of them. They're mostly at like sandbox level, but for me to learn and figure it all out. What we're going to look at today is this early American history. This is one that Canvas created, and I'm showing this one because it's something that they have little pieces and parts of every option that Canvas has already created in this course. So that's why I chose this one. Over here at the very left, this is our instance menu. This is the Canvas menu. And this menu right here, we're calling that the course navigation menu. So as I speak to you about it, I just want to make sure you know which one I'm on. Can you guys see my mouse? Good, that's good. So this is your account. This is where you alter your notifications. So if you want your notifications from Canvas to go to your email or to your text message from your students, from other faculty, you can click on that and change, if you want notifications of due dates that you've created for your students or that you have in something that you're doing, maybe a cohort or something, you're scheduling, you just turn it on and off by this. And of course I have your push notifications for your cell phone here. And you would go into your profile to add that information. Any of these little 3 buttons, those right there, those are a drop-down menu. So remember, it used to be like a little toggle, like a little, you click on the little triangle and it would turn, and then the drop-down menu would come up. In Canvas, the translation is these 3 little buttons. So anywhere you see that, that's a menu. All of my files that I've uploaded will be accessible here in this files, and then settings. It's all about me and what all courses that I have permissions to. Shared content. Biblio, of course. I have access to that. One thing I don't like about sharing is that I can't go back to everything. My menu up at the top is being hidden. Okay. Then there is a portfolio. They gave us the wrong version of portfolio. We're using Portfolium. If you guys want to use that, it's Portfolium. If you want to do some research on training, we will have a separate training for that. Then there's the dashboard, which I've showed you already. And over on the right, you can see that there's a to-do list, which is populated by what's assigned to me. And you can also see it in the calendar, which I'll show you in a second. All my courses. So you see all of your courses in the dashboard view. or if you click on this courses, you can see it in a list view. And then there's the calendar. And you see I've got everything that I'm assigned to or I've assigned to someone else will be on this calendar. You can edit this calendar, add things to this calendar. You can change the due date even if you like move this around. It's not my course, so while I'm doing this, it's saying it's locked, but you can edit. As an instructor, you can edit when something's due just by dragging and dropping this somewhere else. But we'll talk about that in another training when we get a little bit further in how to create assignments. That'll be the rich context editor course or training that will come later. It's in, I don't have the documents in front of me, so that's why I'm trying to think. I believe it's on Camp Canvas that the rich content editor, if not, it's soon thereafter. It'll be within the next month. That's building your courses. And I'll show you more about that. So then there's the inbox there's the Canvas inbox, which is not directly linked to your Microsoft Outlook, but you can change your notifications to receive it. So it forwards from Canvas to your inbox, your Outlook inbox, and then you can respond from your Outlook inbox. There is a little bit of setting up for that. Then you can see your history of everywhere you've gone, everything that you've done, just like if you were browsing on a website. We're going to skip ahead just a little bit because this is over on the left. And I do have a little bit of lag time, so I don't know if you guys are seeing that also, but I'm trying to slow down until it shows for me. So in the comments, this is where you can find templates that you can use. So in your course, you can choose to either use the module view, which is how Moodle had it, where you would see it, from the top to the bottom, all of your course items, where you would have the module and then you'd have the assignments and all of your, attached items for your module. You could also, Canvas makes it so you could also have like a home page, like a web page that links to items within your course. So this is the one, I'm not sure how many of you were at the gallery walk, but Canvas allowed us to choose one of their templates, only one. So we did that so we could choose, see what you guys wanted in a homepage, as well as see which one of those we should choose. It was a majority choice. So this is the one that was chosen, but we edited it so it has, welcome Jackson. So this is just an image that can be changed. Then there's the text, the instructor information, and some buttons, kind of once again like a website or a web page. Just click on this, create, make this a button that moves towards items within your module. So this shows different here in this view. This is not what your module will look like. This just gives items to open, how it will look kind of, but the module page is actually what it would look like. So you could choose this one, or you could choose any of these to play around with. And if you don't like it, then you delete that page and you choose a different one. So we have, this is the modern template, and then there's multiple different colors, or you can mix and match. And these three here, it will require you to know scripting. So if you do know scripting, then you can edit that. But if not, I would suggest just sticking with these common modern ones. Then there's Studio, which I don't have set up because I haven't used it yet. And I should say that with the templates, there will be a specific training for the templates, and there will be a specific training for the Studio. So Studio is another, I heard you guys mention that there's multiple ways to communicate here at Jackson College. This is just one more. So this is video communication for inside of discussions or posting videos. And it does have, it does have closed captioning for accessibility. So that's kind of nice. And then there's the help. So the help is this right here, search the Canvas guides. So if you open this will take you to the Instructure community. And that will always stay at the top of that list. So Little Lost, try here first. So if you can't get a hold of Brian or I or the tech staff and you're, trying to figure something out, if one of your peers don't know, there's always this community. You can create your own login in there and become more of an active user, or you can just browse it and find what you need. The next link is find your student success navigator. So this is here for the students, so that they will be able to scroll down and find their advisor. I'm going to close these as I'm going through. Then there's the library, a link for them, the students, to go and connect with the Jackson College Solution Center, and student resource page. So if your students are needing some sort of support and they come to you, there's this page that marketing created specifically for us to provide that support to our students. So if they come in and they said they need something, you could just send them to this page. It has quite a few all in one page, instead of having to send them to 5 different pages to look for something. That's about as deep as I'm going to get into that list, other than knowing that down here is where they put the release notes for any upgrades that are pushed into our instance. So I'm not sure how much you guys can see unless it's something that pertains to instructors, but Brian and I and the tech staff will be watching this, so we will know. And if there is something major, we'll be able to send it out to you to give you information. Hey, this is going to happen, 2 weeks from now. Within, you might see something different. Okay, so back to our course. So when you get to this dashboard, these they call cards. So we're going to open this card, which will display this course. And the course navigation menu, I'm going to try to go a little faster so I don't keep you guys too much longer. So this is the home. So this will always take everyone back to home or to this front page, or if you want to, if you have your module set up to home, it'll take you to that. And there are other options to change the home to. I'll show you. Here's what the grading looks like. Oh, Rin's in there. Forgot I put her in here. I was showing her an example. Good thing I didn't put a student. That would be horrible. But so I have a test student. You guys can be enrolled in this course if you're not already, in order to play around if you'd like to. If you just email Brian or I, we can add you to this. Then there's Bibliu is in the menu. Big blue button is in the menu. People, this is an item you can hide or you can share. So everybody that's in this course, you can go ahead and see who's already enrolled, and you can communicate with these people as well by inboxing them, or by using the Canvas inbox. Discussions, you can view your discussions this way. So this is a great idea for instructors to have these menus, so you can go in and test and create the assignments before you add them to the module, or be your own administrator of your own course. We're not really suggesting having all of these show to your students. And how you hide them, or how you know if it's hidden or not, is you see this little eyeball here with a line through it. So that means that you can see it, but the students cannot see it. And I'll show you the student view in a second. Then there's collaborations. The collaborations that you can add, which would be like group work with your students, is we have Google Apps and Microsoft 365, where they can work on documents together. They can video chat with each other. You would just add a collaboration. I'm not going to go through that with you, but we will have training on specific to that. Then there's the assignments. So in this assignments, you see how there's assignments, discussions, quizzes, participation. So all of these will come in different for you, depending on how you had it in Moodle. So you may have had everything separated the way that this is, or it might just come in, everything's an assignment. Because according to Canvas, everything is an assignment. That's how the grading's done. That's how the grouping's done. So these are all grouped in this. And then if you look over here to the right, this is how it's weighted. So those weights are all edited within your course, not necessarily within your grading book. You can weight things this way, or you can not weight things with the group, and you can grade it, or you can add the grades or the percentages or points or a letter grade or the number grade in the grading system. That's another course. This is just like a big overview of what is here. You can add your rubrics, your syllabus. This syllabus, there was some confusion in the beginning because everyone had watched the larger overview when Canvas gave their presentation, and he called this the syllabus, and he shared this here. This is a course summary down below where this says course summary. This is not to be assumed as the syllabus. So that's where the confusion came in during that demonstration, but this is not the syllabus. And I had thought that also until I took a syllabus course from Canvas, and they said, oh no, that's not it. So what their intention is this is the course syllabus. You add the course syllabus up in this area. So if you edit, this is the rich content editor here. And this is where you edit the text and you add the link to the syllabus, which is in the syllabus repository. And I'll talk more about the rich content editor in a second. So here is the list of quizzes that you can look at, just as you could with discussions and assignments and quizzes. And once again, we have quizzes, assignments, and discussions hidden to the students. Then there's outcomes, and there will be a specific course for outcomes also. Files. So remember back when I was looking in my account and I had a files folder there, and that showed all of the files that I brought to Canvas. These files are all the files that I brought specifically to this course. You see, I have my badge that I use for badgers in here. And well, I guess I can't show that one. So those are all in this course. Your pages, all of my pages. So it will automatically go to whatever my home page is. And then I have to choose view all pages. So all my pages are here. And then I can choose, right now, this History 101 is my front page, or I can so I can go up to this next one here, this wrap up, and I can say use that as my front page. And now that is my front page. So now I'm going to view all pages again, and I'm going to go back so I don't forget to go back later. I'm going to use that as my front page. And then now we're back to that's my front page. So you can switch back and forth between the pages. And I wouldn't suggest showing that to students either. So here's settings. And I'll go through this quickly. There's a couple tabs that I'm not going to show you because they're not necessarily something that you would change. I just want you to know that they're there. So the name will come in the same as that will be brought in through the database. Through the text staff will, populate that, and the course code will be populated by the tech staff, and the SIS will be populated by them. Right now, this is in a subcount Canvas demo courses, and as you can see, there's multiple. So the ones that you guys have now is probably in the sandbox. And production, this right here, subaccount production will be the one that's the live course that student and faculty will be in that one. So if you get to your production course and it says sandbox, then you'll know that it's in the wrong section. Default term is the ones that we're working on right now. We're not putting anything into the summer term. We're just putting default term. That way there's no dates or anything. That way you guys can work on things and dates don't get like kind of crossed in the calendar. Once you're done updating that, you would have to hit update course details. I didn't change anything course section. So you can have 2 courses being sectioned off within the same course instead of duplicating. I'm not going to go into that because that's still in pilot mode right now over the summer. So that can be another course later once we learn more about it ourselves. Navigation. So this covers this course menu, the navigation menu over here. So if I decide that I do want my students to see each other, all I do is drag people up here and say I do want them to go to the discussions, or they can, they can either, so what I'm changing here is before they could only see these items, see the discussion when they got into the discussion within their module. So bringing that up here enables them to go to discussions at any random time, not having to go through the menu or the modules. So I'm going to hit save, and you can see over here now people in discussion is at the top. And what that looks like for the student is, oh, I have to hit save first. Oh, update course details. Okay. So I'm going to go to the home, and in student view, see up here, it says student view on this button at the top right. If you click on student view, you only see the items that you are wanting to share with your students. So you can also see that down at the bottom right, it says leave student view. But when you're in student view, you see this magenta roll around the whole course. That's your like signification, or it signifies you that, hey, you're as a student. So you can leave student and see they reappear. While you're in student view, please remember that you are viewing as a student and not acting as a student. So if you're wanting to test, you will need to put maybe a test student in your course and act as them instead of student view. Because while we were testing, say, Big Blue Button or, quizzes, at first, initially, we thought in student view, we would be able to test and make sure that things were working correctly. Then we realized, no, you need to have a student in there, or else you're just viewing as a student and things don't work the way you thought they were going to work for a student. So I'm going to leave that, go back to settings. I left student view and I'm going back to settings. So the navigation is showing in the instructor view, and the settings will always stay there in instructor view. In student view, that settings won't be there. Apps. So you can see there's 1,000,006 different apps that can work with Canvas. The ones that we have installed are Google Apps, and Office 365 is there for you. Vimeo will, you can add the links or embed the links for Vimeo and YouTube easily. And you can add Badger. So Tom and I are still piloting these Badgers. He's using one and I'm using the other. So we'll, look at which one has the most options for everyone to use. But that's why there's 2 versions right there. And eventually there'll only be one once him and I get our information together. And feature options, there's Mastery Gradebook, there's user analytics. These will be in future courses or future trainings also. Integrations, I don't have any installed for myself for integrations for this course. Over on the right, so while I'm in settings, you have options to share. Maybe you've created a course and you want to share that course with everyone else in the Commons. So if you click share to Commons, you can create your own templates, and you can choose to share it with only yourself, or you can share it with everyone in Jackson College. And we'll go over that in the templates training. There's course statistics, course calendar, conclude this course, delete this course, copy this course, import course content, export course content, reset course content, validate links in this content. So that will go through and make sure everything's, that there aren't any broken links. So I'm going to go back to the module view. And while I've got a couple more minutes with you, if you guys have any questions, go ahead and add those to the document. And I'm going to go through on how to add the assignments and the modules. There will be, I'm not going to go over quizzes very much because that's going to be a whole different training. And so to add a module, you'd add it, you'd add the name. So I've got a pretty little name there, add to the module. It's going to take it to the bottom. So while you're at the bottom, you can always add this. See the little dots here? You can just grab it and drag it all the way to the top, or you can wherever you want. So I'm going to place it there. And this little button here shows that it's not published. And once you publish it, it's green. This, once again, is like a drop down menu, these three little buttons here. And this plus is how you add something into the module. There's the assignment. So everything in Canvas, as I said, is an assignment. No matter what it is, if it's graded or has a due date, it's called an assignment. But there's also an assignment that is an actual assignment. So that's where the terminology, where Moodle had one set of, vocabulary and Canvas has its own. That's going to be the tricky part. And we do have a document that shows in Moodle it was this, in Canvas it was that. So you could add a quiz, a file, a page, a discussion. There's a text header. The text header used to be, I'm stuck on that word. I'm sure, hopefully, a label. It was a label. So if you want to add a label, it's now called a text header. And add an external URL or an external tool. So I'm just going to create an assignment. I'm just going to create a page. I'm going to create a new page, or I could select any of these pages that are already created. And name there. So now we have a page. And I'm going to edit this page. In this page, this is where that rich content editor is located. It gets located in assignments and pages. So you add your text there, you can add a picture there, you can add a video. So this would be where you could add a video from YouTube or Vimeo. This, you can upload a document to be added in there. This, you can add the Microsoft 365 information in there. H5P, and then this has, if you view all, this is all of them that can be integrated into this page. Simply, you can add more. It's just we were only given a certain number that we can add to this list. So these are the ones that were chosen to add to this list. You can add tables, you can add things from your cloud. So this is just like, you can treat this as if you were creating a Google document or a Word document. So that's how you would edit your templates, also using this. And then the accessibility is also here. And it will walk you through. So say that you added things that weren't accessible. Of course, I need to add one before I can delete it. So now I have accessibility issues. So I click on that, it'll tell me exactly what I need to do. It says I should add a caption. Okay, so I'm going to add a caption and then apply. And then it says, oh, it needs a set table header. Okay, so then I say I want to do that. And look, I've got balloons. I've completed what accessibility standards are. Save and publish, or I could just save. So go back to my modules. Scroll down, and here it's published. And that's about all I was planning on covering today. I did send the documents, for the migration, the idea that we had for migrating, let's see. This is kind of the process that we were wanting to suggest for migrating, which Brian did talk about in the beginning a little bit. So once you get it, remember I showed on the left where you would hit assignment and it showed the assignment grouping. So we suggest that you look at that first to make sure that the assignments are in the right area that you want them. That way it's easier later when you start working on your grading. And then choose if you want to use the home page, what type of home page. And you know, if you wanted to use a front page or if you just wanted to stay with the module style. And then look at the module flow. You know, start from the top to the bottom, looking at the module flow and the structure and see how that works with you. Because as I believe it was Aaron that had said that once he moved from Canvas to Moodle, he found that he wanted to take a new look at it and change the flow a little bit. And then look at the course management, navigation, content, and then check all of the files and everything. And then at the very end, check the accessibility. I'm going to stop sharing that and I'm going to go to, so we did create a checklist. That's not it. There's two that kind of look a little alike. Okay, there it is. So this is the course Canvas migration checklist that we kind of looked at, like what things that we think would be best to look at first, and then how it flowed for us. We had opened quite a few courses and created, you know, pulled them in ourselves and tried to find a best flow to suggest for you guys. So I did send these in the email, and these all have links. So if you need more description on what we're talking about in this little suggestion, then you can click on the links. But this is just a suggestion, whatever you find is easiest for you. And then there's if that doesn't work, or if the progress gets a little, you know, further along where you need to get more deep into the details, then there's a course material order, the files, quizzes. So you could, you know, use this as a little cheat sheet for yourself. And I also sent a Word version, so you can change these words if you want to. Because somebody might not be, you know, someone might not use collaboration tools. So, you know, you change that as you want to. And that's called the module checklist. This one's called the migration checklist. And that's all I have, actually. So anyone have any questions or anything that you'd like to see before we close?
I have a few questions.
Sure.
Is there a size limit on to the file size that we can upload?
There's currently 50,000, I want to say megabytes. I don't know. There is a size limit, but if you need more, go ahead and ask for it. There's some courses that are not going to use as many, and it is assigned, but it can be changed.
Okay.
That would be a tech request.
I tend to build out my courses as the course goes through the 7 weeks.
Mm-hmm.
And once a course is published, can I then edit it on the fly?
Yes.
All right. How do I go about? Currently, I hide, you know, I go week by week. That's how I do mine.
Mm-hmm.
And is there a way to hide the weeks like we did in JetNet or not?
Yes. What you would do is you would unpublish them.
Unpublish the week or unpublish the course?
Unpublish, not the course, but unpublish the items that you don't want to show within the course.
Right. So if I'm understanding it, the module view is how I would set it up: week 1, week 2, week 3, week 4. Is that correct?
Mm-hmm.
and then I would just unpublish that particular module.
That's correct.
Okay. It should get me started.
Yes, and there are other features that can be used. So it can all show, and then once a student has completed an area, then it does show. So, but that, we can get deeper into that, and I can show you, that as well. And there are videos if you would like me to send you some more materials on that, if it's a feature that you use strongly.
All right, thank you.
Mhm.
Couple more general questions regarding the LMS. It looks as though each instructor right now is going to be designing their own, so there won't be essentially a JC approach to these online courses. Is that correct?
That is correct.
Is there going to be a grace period where we're all experimenting with what we have? And then is there going to be a time period when the college is going to have a recommended format? I could see where it could be confusing for particularly a lot of new students if they have a different format for each course to go through. I'm just
Yeah,
curious.
there is definitely two sides to that, where, there's the side of freedom for faculty to create their own, and then there's the consistency for the student. And at this time, my direction is to give you all freedom to design. They are requesting that there is either at the first module or on the front page, some way for the student to immediately recognize their instructor, their contact information for the instructor, that we do start, making sure that the courses, like not us making sure as police officers, but you guys making sure that there's some sort of natural flow within your course, but not anything that's consistent that says this is how you should, or this is how, it's more of this is how you could, you guys choose something, as long as there's flow throughout the course.
Will there be some recommended examples of that?
Yes, we do have 4 examples actually in the Commons, and when we get more into the template training, that's when we will talk about those ideas.
Okay.
And if you have any other questions, we could definitely send you some individual information and some links to get to those if you want more before the training.
Thank you.
On piggybacking on Larry's question, so if we wanted to use a template or one of the examples that were out there in the comments right now, does that have to be used starting from scratch, or in Larry's case, when he starts building and he's into week 2 and he's like, oh, I like this template, let me adopt it. Is there a way to import or overlay that onto existing content, or just have to be started or made that decision in the beginning?
Well, it would be nice to have that decision made in the beginning. We haven't tested fully, like changing things out right in the beginning, right in the middle of a course. We have tested changing small areas within that and editing throughout a live course. We have tested that, but we did not test a total overall switch of pages because we did have students in there. So we didn't want to totally.
I've got some
So-
information on that. So
Okay.
if
So
you
my-
want to import the front page into a class, you can do that at any time, but do not try to copy any of the shells, the templates that include the word pedagogy in them, because those include some module structure. That won't work. That won't map over perfectly. It will just be mixed in. But the front page only part of a template, that can be done at any time without any consequences. Now, you'll still have to do the editing of that page to make it operational. It won't automatically be linked to things in your course.
So we have to make a choice if we want to bring over the content from Moodle or use a template.
No, you can do both.
So which happens first? Because if we bring the content over from Moodle, if I already had you bring my classes over from Moodle, that means there's content in there.
Same
And
thing as
then
I
if
said
there's
before,
a template that I like, you're saying that once there's content there, not to overlay the template.
not the module content, but the page. So what you see on a template is usually going to be a page, like a web page, that can be used in many ways, just like a page in Moodle can be used in many ways. You can add that at any time. Don't try to add a template that includes module contents. Sonia, are you going to show the difference between the two?
Yep, I did. All
And the
right, I pulled
module
it up.
content in a template, it's not information, it's really just structure that suggests a pattern for interaction.
If I could show you here, the orange ones here, these are just front pages. So I tried to make it simple. So if it's just a front page, it says front page. And if you click on this, there's nothing else in here other than just the front page. So you would not lose anything. Nothing would be duplicated. It would not touch your modules whatsoever. If you used the blue ones, these have module content, and in like your module content would not go away, but what would happen is all these other items would be added to.
Okay,
But what you could do is say, hey, Sonia, I really like that page that's on here. Could you share it with me? And then I would go into it and I would share just that page with you. And that would just be added. And over at the left, and your account over here, it would give a little red, bubble, and then you would click on it and then you would say, I accept this, and this is where I want it to go in my module. So you'll have a lot more control.
okay.
But that's the best that I could figure out was just color code it and put the words in there. So you would say, oh, wait. And then this says required scripting. So if it's orange, it's just a page. And
Okay.
even if you said, well, I want this, I like this header here, and you downloaded the header, and then you said, well, I want the black buttons. So you can mix and match all of these also. They're not, they're just pages.
But we just need to contact you to say what we want to mix and match then.
Yeah, if it's not exactly this, if it's exactly this, you're golden. If it's something different than that.
But to be clear, that blue exactly this, I can't do if you've already put my course in there because it has some module stuff.
Those you couldn't do exactly as it is, or unless you
Right,
wanted to
okay.
delete all the other content. You just know
Gotcha.
it will come with it. But these were just added up there so you can see.
A certain structure.
Yes,
Okay, thank you.
but you still get the front page of this if you would like it by me just sending it to you, or I'll make another one that has just that page.
Yeah, I
Anyone
have
else?
one more question.
Mhm.
Has there been any, I don't know if research is the correct question or word to use, but is there a better way if I'm teaching a course online that's going to be synchronous compared to one that's asynchronous? Is there a course layout that is preferred for those two methods,
I think that.
specifically to those two methods?
I think that would be something that Brian and myself can work with you. And there's, it depends on what subject you have, what students you have. I wouldn't want to pick that for you or say what my opinion is best for you. I think that would be something you could decide with your peers. I haven't found something that I feel strongly enough to tell you that this is what I think you should use.
So my wife has just made the migration to Canvas at the institution where she works, and she teaches totally face-to-face. And she tells me that of all the options, she likes using assignments as the homepage for a totally face-to-face class, because then students can easily see every assignment and then everything in class is done just like normal. But that's just her methodology, and it's certainly not what I would say is the only way to do it. I know of other people who like the syllabus, because that also includes a dynamically created set of links to all assignments along with everything else. I could see where, like in a graduate class where there are relatively few assignments, but there's a lot of discussions, that you might use the activity stream as the homepage, because then when students go there, they'll see the most current discussion content. So it really, as Sonia said, it really depends on the approach you're taking and how you want students to interact with the materials in Canvas that would determine that. I'm looking forward to seeing what kinds of approaches people come up with and try and share with each other, because you guys are the experts in what you do. you'll try things, you'll find things that work and things that don't work, and be able to recommend them to each other. So if it were me doing a totally face-to-face class right now, I would probably start with assignments. I would experiment with a page. I wouldn't use syllabus because I don't like the syllabus tool the way it works. And I probably wouldn't use activity stream. So I would say page and assignments would be my first choices. Modules isn't a bad way either though, because you can build modules with the intention that they be used to help guide students to the things that they need to prepare before class and after and so on.
I'm just thinking that with compared to asynchronous, the synchronous version, you're going to have an easier communication between the student and the instructor and more real-time communication so that you could answer questions to help them work through the online format. Whereas asynchronous, it's more like they're left on their own. It's like self-directed.
Yeah, so if you're doing a synchronous online class versus a synchronous face-to-face class too, that would be different, right? So
Sure,
you would
sure.
use different tools. But the other thing is some instructors in a synchronous face-to-face class still like to use the learning management system to provide readings,
Mhm.
even quizzes to ensure that students get a learning check after the reading that they're supposed to do before they come to the face-to-face class. So if I were doing that sort of thing, then the module view would be an appropriate homepage to have students interact with. If on the other hand, you do everything face-to-face and you only need the LMS for a grade book, then I would probably use the assignments as my homepage because that will link them into their grades, even if you're not. So in Canvas, you can tell Canvas that the grade is an in-class grade or a paper-based grade. So then you just get a grade item to put the grade into, and the students wouldn't even have to upload anything into Canvas for you. Or you could let them if you wanted to.
Thank you.
Hey, Brian, does this program prefer PDF versus like Word documents and things like that for students doing uploads of assignments?
Sonia, you're more of an expert on that than I. Do you have a sense of that?
Sure. Any and all seems to work very well. If that, hold on, I think I'm,
And like Moodle, you can require certain extensions. Like you can say, I only allow Word documents or I only allow PDFs. Like for one of my classes, I only allow them to submit things as documents in a particular program that we use. So,
Gotcha.
and I will say, I'll second what Brian was saying. My recommendation, I know this is me because I'm very simple and doltish. Start with as simple as possible and just like construct. Do you mind? Can I share my screen and brag about how lame my class is for a second? Am I allowed to share
I
my
can
screen?
actually go to it myself.
Oh, and then you can just view it as a student.
Okay, so which
it
course
is-
is it that we're looking at?
This is Math 254
254. I
I1.
should know this by heart, right? I should know this by heart.
It is so incredibly stripped down and bare. I feel incredibly embarrassed, but at the same time, it's very low maintenance, and just there's nothing to get in the way of students just jumping in.
Okay. So this is the module.
This is it. This is the entire course. And go up to student view, actually, just see what student view looks like so they can see that. That's it. I mean, that's the entire course. There is really only one page other than that, which is the People's page, which is, it's from the People's Republic. We don't talk about that. But no, I'm kidding. But that's it. I mean, they can go to like important documents and then external links. And notice most of those are links to external documents because, hey, if the world goes to poop, I want to be able to update things even if I can't get on the system. And you know, I'm going to learn how to do. Yeah, exactly. I'm going to learn how to do a bunch of stuff later. I'm going to learn how to, you know, put put images and do all kinds of other stuff, but I wanted to get this thing started and get it rolling. And so I've got, those are all imported assignments. And so you can see some of the due dates are wrong, but I've got them unpublished. And so you see the check mark over off to the side here, these things, that little, where they're checked, that means it's published. Where they're unchecked, this is to your question, Larry, where they're unchecked, they're, you know, not visible by the students. And so get rid of my stupid annotation now. There we go. And so, yeah, from the student's perspective, I wanted this to be as clean and clear. There's links, they can collapse those things.
Didn't do that. I clicked the wrong link here.
Sorry, I have a member of the Zoom meeting in the room, and she's saying, did I do assignments as my main page? I just did homepage. It's literally just
The module. Oops, I just.
No,
opened it.
a module. It's what got imported as my home page, and I just got rid of, like, I hid all the other pages, like the syllabus page. I messed around with the syllabus, as Brian was saying. I didn't like it. It was going to be a lot of work, a pain in the butt to set it up. And for me, because I'm, again, a very simple-minded person, and so I wanted it to be as straightforward as possible. So
I have to say, I'm pretty impressed with the way they moved over for the course that I do have in the sandbox.
yeah,
It moved over pretty darn well. And it feels like a certain amount of stuff is going to be self-explanatory, a certain amount of stuff
Yeah.
I'm going to have to work on, but it looks like it went over fairly well. So I'm happy with that. I just got to check with Jamie and see what all courses I asked to be moved over. So I hope I asked for all of them to be, so that I can start working on them and doing all that.
Yeah, we just hurried up and moved the ones just so you guys could have something, because we just received them last week. So we were kind of paying attention to the ones that had said that they would be in these courses. There's a couple things that you should know when you're looking through your courses. We had to make the decision that anything that was a label that came over that was more than, I think it was 36 characters, was turned into a page. So if you see something that used to be a label that's now a page, we had to make that decision, or else everyone's labels were going to turn into pages, or everyone's pages were going to turn into labels. So we had to make a decision on that, as well as when you go into your quizzes, you'll see that there's 2 quiz banks, possibly, and one will be linked and one won't be linked. And we'll do that training and talk about that a little further on in the quiz training. But the biggest thing is making sure that everything is there. So using that checklist and going through that checklist and making sure everything's there the way that you want it. There's nothing missing. There's nothing back, because now we're still in the contract with K-16. So if there's anything that you're like, hey, this came over, it's drastically wrong, I really need this repaired, now would be the time to do that. And we did spot check, but we didn't go through everyone's courses.
I'm sorry, K-16 is the group that's doing the awesome.
The
move over.
migration.
Okay, so
Mhm.
I want to make sure I have that written down appropriately.
Yeah.
Can I ask just kind of a generic logistical question? From a faculty perspective, it's 6 p.m. on a Tuesday night, and I realize my course has some major problem, or I have something going wrong with Canvas. Who would I reach out to? And I'm not saying I expect an immediate response, but who would be that first line of defense?
That is Brian.
That's
Email
Brian.
him directly.
Email him. And you're willing to give us his home phone number as well?
I think
so
you
that-
probably already have that. Brian, your camera is off while you're getting this surprise response.
But no,
I
seriously.
don't have a phone, so please email me. I check email frequently. I mean, most days I check it throughout the evening periodically and before I go to bed. So if it's an emergency, I'll try to do it. If you have something that is truly an emergency, copy the Solution Center on it, just in case someone in IT is available also to work on it. Now that Jay
We
is
still have
gone,
people in IT right now?
we have plenty of people at IT. They're just very busy.
Oh, okay.
If you have an issue that is related to your account, like your password isn't working and so on, I can't fix that. That has
Yeah.
to go to Solution Center. But if it's something in the course, in the LMS,
Yeah.
I'm your first line of contact.
Got
I do check email a lot.
You're the J for Canvas, I guess is what I hear you
I
say.
heard we were getting a red button app and you just open it and push it and it immediately goes right to Brian.
Yeah, I'm working on that.
It's almost like the bat signal.
Exactly. like that.
I thought that button actually did the fix. So Brian wouldn't have to be contacted.
There you go.
That would be nice.
That's why
Thank
he's
you
wearing the
guys
red
for-
shirt. He is the red button.
Yes. Thank you
Good
all for
one.
staying over.
Um,
Any last minute,
yeah.
anything?
Yeah, I have one question on the sheet that didn't, that Brian didn't get back to, because I'm sure he's in here right now, but the LTI that needs to be installed by IT for embedding links from Pearson or Cengage. Cengage is what I'm using now. I had most of my assignments embedded into 2 of my major classes that I have a lot of adjuncts teaching. So generally I like it to be ready to go the whole entire semester before the semester opens. Brian said we have to wait for IT to install the LTI before I can determine if those links work, because if they don't, then I need to redo them. In addition, Microsoft is changing this year, and so I need to redo some of them anyway. When do we, I'm not really sure, except I expect it's some kind of bridge that links Cengage to us. Maybe Brian can address that, Alana. But when do we think that we'll know when that'll be installed, or when can I plan on beginning really tackling those 2 big courses? I mean, I've got maybe 12 or 15 courses and I can start on some of the other ones, but those 2 are big and I have a lot of adjuncts teaching them. Whereas the other ones, I'm more comfortable doing what Larry does and building as I go if needed, because I'm the only teacher.
So IT installed the LTIs necessary to run the summer pilot, and Cengage was not in those. They are on the list to be installed. I have no way of knowing when IT will get them installed. Sooner rather than later is our hope, and we'll let you know as soon as it's done. And
That seems like
LTI is-
just say like that just seems like a kind of passive answer. I'm being
Well,
honest.
it's
It's like, well,
passive
we'll let you
because
know. I mean,
I'm not in
I-
charge of IT, so I can't tell.
can we
them
take a
when
more
to-
assertive approach to say I'll inquire? Because my point is these are major classes. There's like 5 sections of one and like 8 sections of another for fall.
They've
Yeah,
actually
but
hired
we
a
can
new
be-
person to work on that, so they are
Okay.
taking an assertive action on that.
Okay, so we'll know, like, could we know this week? Like, oh, it'll be in 4 weeks that it'll be installed.
There's no way I can imagine that I could tell you today what their plan is. We will have a meeting with them next week, and
Okay,
hopefully we'll be able to tell you something
Okay.
next week.
perfect. Thank you.
It certainly got to be done before fall. If I just want to speculate wildly, I would say probably sometime in June, which is coming right up. We'll
Mhm.
see that
Okay.
coming. I think the plan is to get course shells built in July, so we'd get the LTIs done, then course shells built.
Okay.
That's kind of
So,
what I would say.
Perfect. After you have your meeting next week, that'd be nice to know if that's kind of on their timeline and that framework as well, just so that, I mean, if I have to rebuild them from scratch, I need to know like how many weeks of sleepless nights I'm having, right? Because I
Right,
mean, the sections are gonna go no matter what.
yeah,
He said
and
3.
you have,
3
I
weeks,
believe
all right,
that-
thanks, Steve.
I believe that we put a check request in for that.
Okay.
And, I mean, it's more than I believe. I'm sure that we put a check request in for that.
And it's
And
on the
the-
project plan.
Okay,
Yeah,
yeah,
and
so then we'll get an answer at some point here in the
Yeah,
next meeting. Okay, perfect, thank you.
yeah,
Hey, Sonia,
yes.
I really liked those sort of flow chart checklist things you had, and I looked in the intranet, and I didn't see them there. I'm sorry if I missed it. Where are those located?
Karen emailed those yesterday,
Okay,
and I'm sorry, I said I emailed them, but actually literally, if you look in your email, it's from Karen.
oh, okay, all right. And do you have sons or daughters?
Myself,
Yeah,
a son or daughters?
yeah, because your thing says tranquil parenting, so I was.
Oh,
just wondering-
goodness gracious, why does it show that? It's showing the wrong one. I have both.
Oh, okay, I'm like, maybe she just has daughters, I don't know.
No, I have a mix and match.
Hey, I don't
I
have any
have-
kids.
I have a blended family.
Ferocious parenting.
But
Families with
I
little
subscribe to
girls, like,
ferocious.
sitting and reading books and playing dolls, and I'm like, oh my God, that was not my experience.
Well, luckily my kids are all much, I have a 33 is my oldest, and then I have a soon to be 16. So it's quite tranquil now.
Yeah, the driver's license.
Thank
I see,
goodness.
Larry, you have your hand up. Do you have another question?
I'm sorry, that was from way before.
Okay.
I'm going to take that off so nobody thinks that I'm tranquil. That might give people the wrong impression. Steve has ferocious. Thanks, Steve. I appreciate that, Suzanne. Anyone else? Thank you all for staying so long with us. If you have any further, please reach out to us.
Thank you all. Thank you both for working on this. I know this is a nightmare and we're trying to make it as difficult as possible.
Oh,
But you
thank you.
you keep succeeding in answering our questions. So we're just going to keep trying to make it more difficult. I mean, at least Suzanne is. I think everybody else will take it easy on you, but not Suzanne.
Thanks, everybody.
It's okay. Thanks. Have a good
See you
day,
next
guys.
time.
Hey,
See ya.
Brian.
Yes.
So I'm reading what you wrote and I'm just making sure when I go in and mess with 133 for spring and I say it's 133 spring, but I'm going to make all the dates and everything for fall,
Uh-huh.
then I'll just be able to copy that over and it'll be fine. Yes.
Yes.
All right.
I
That's
can
what
even change the word spring to fall if you'd like.
Be careful. He might change it to winter.
I might
No.
change it to ferocious math.
It's ferocious. Yeah, you can do whatever you want. That's fine. That's what I needed to know because I am not interested in making something that's not going to get used.
No.
I
As long
don't
as the
see the
shell
point in.
class, as long
Mhm.
as it exists in Canvas, we can copy it to any other class.
Okay, perfect. Perfect. Okay, cool. Well, that means that I can actually get started on it though. That means I have work to do.
And when you talk about dates, there are some tools in Canvas that will help you manipulate dates
Hmm.
in math. So,
Okay. I'll be messing around with that. Thanks.
all right.
All right. See ya.
Bye-bye.
Thanks all. Stop recording.
And